a grand adventure. They thought they were going to fight against the Germans and Turks. Many of them were born in Britain and thought they would have a chance to see their old friends and family. They weren't. There was 20,000 Australians and 8,417 New Zealanders, and on each ship there were 2,841.7 people. The beach they landed on was called Aribirnu, but they were supposed to land at Cape Jebu. Today it is called Anzacs.
The Anzacs made it to the top of the rugged cliffs and started in trenches. Trenches were 8 metres long, 1 metre wide and 2 to 3 metres deep. The beds were shelves dug into the trench wall with only a blanket to keep them warm. The roofs were corrugated iron lined with sandbags. The soldiers washed, ate and slept in the trenches. If you're one of those people who complains about your bed not being comfy, then imagine lying in the mud in the trenches. That would have been worse, wouldn't it? This would have been horrible with bullets flying overhead and bombs exploding everywhere. The Anzacs also got trench foot, and now Georgia Cameron will explain about trench foot and what caused it.
In World War I, many soldiers got trench foot. This was an infection caused by the cold, wet and unhealthy conditions. When the soldiers stood hour on end, then their feet would go numb and turn red or blue. They would have to get their foot amputated or change their socks several times a day and dry them. We complain about having to go to the hospital, but imagine having to get your foot taken off only because it goes numb.
In World War I, the soldiers only ate bully beef and hardtack biscuits. When the soldiers were in the trenches, they ate and never wasted food. They hated bully beef because it turned into liquid and massive fat in the sun. When the soldiers ate all food, they get rations. Even if they have a small amount of food, they still share food equally. Instead of eating the hardtack biscuits, they used them as projectile weapons to throw at their enemies.
New Zealand had a lot of food available to them, but very little drinking water. The NZ troops floated the bully beef to the Turkish people. That's why the note says, cigarettes yes, bully beef no. In the 1915 World War I in the trenches, it was so hard to control your hunger, even with a small amount of food, so that's why they share food equally.
Hello viewers, we're here today to tell you about the New Zealand's Retired Servicemen Association, which is more commonly known as RSA. They are the people who care and supply for the retired servicemen and women from the New Zealand Defence Force, which is New Zealand's current military, whom have received medallic recognition for their time or service in the New Zealand military. That means that they must have earned a medal in the New Zealand military before they can have proper membership of the RSA. There is also an associate program in the RSA which we will cover later.
The New Zealand RSA was formed by a man called Donald Simpson in the year of 1916. He was a veteran of New Zealand's military and created the organization. He was as a place where other veterans could go and discuss their time as a soldier and make new friends who had been through the same thing as them. Back then, the RSA only allowed members based to be ex-soldiers, but as the times changed and the other military services started to become recognized, and they allowed veterans from the Navy and Navy, and Air Force to join, thus become the Returned Servicemen Association. It will still be able to keep the name RSA, and that is how it is still known today.
The minimum age of joining the RSA is 18 years old. Although many of the branches of the RSA do have youth programs to teach younger generations about what they do and the history of the association. You don't have to be a returned serviceman to join anymore. They have an associate members program now. An existing member of the RSA can nominate someone they know to be able to join that branch as an associate member. The associate members get a badge, and as time has progressed, the badge has gotten smaller and smaller. The original badge of the RSA members had a king's crown at the top of it. But that changed when Queen Elizabeth II had her coronation and officially became the Queen. That is when the crown at the top of the badge turned to that of the Queen.
Every year, a few days before the Anzac service, the RSA organize and hold National Poppy Day, where people buy poppies in preparation for the actual Anzac service. Most of the money earned during this day circulates back into the RSA itself. They also use it to help with local projects, donate to the poor, and send supplies and presents over to our soldiers that are fighting for our safety overseas. Just a little thanks for the service in the New Zealand military.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. A gunner's lament. I can't even look you in the eyes, for I can't say I did my job. It was up to me to save those lives. It was my job. I have to move forward, keep on doing the same job. I'm supposed to be your shield and sword, but what if I fail? Do they give me another award?
A soldier's daughter. I know each day you think of me and wish you could come home. Each day you also fight for me, so that I am free to roam. You should know I miss you, Daddy, and I really need you near. So please be safe, at least until the next time you are here. My brother at war. I am so very proud of how he turned out to be. He's out there, standing his ground, fighting for our country. I could not ask for a better man to be in my family. I'm glad God had this plan for me to have a brother like thee. We may not have got along, and we may have had our fights, but we turned out to be strong and stand up for what is right. We got raised by the best, and I know my brother will agree. They put us to the test.
The date, 25th of April, was officially named Anzac Day in 1968. During 1950, Anzac Day became National Day commemoration for the 60,000 Australians and 18,000 New Zealanders who died during the war. They shall grow not old, as we that live grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning we will remember them.
In many towns and cities there are war memorials to remember the soldiers who died in war.
This memorial is one of them.
Some of the bigger towns and cities in New Zealand have larger memorials called cenotaphs. Most of the families had 2 or more people in World War I at the same time. Sometimes one person in the family died and another survived.